Right. So data quality is my thought, for today, because it's a major thing um, in the world of data, and that is the major problem that most workplaces have got. It's around data quality. When data quality is fine, work tends to be smooth, So it's a problem mostly with data quality that throws a lot of spanner into the work, you know. And what is data quality? What does it refer to? It's talking about how accurate, how complete, how reliable, how relevant or up to date our data is. So it's a very, very important aspect of any organization that use data a lot to to drive their decisions, because the quality of the data would always affect whether positively or negatively the effectiveness of the decision making, um, as well as the timeliness of it, So data quality is huge. And there are 6 key dimensions to data quality. When we talk about the dimensions to data quality, for those of us that want to, jot anything down, we are talking about the accuracy of it. How accurate is the data? Is it correct? And is it reliable? Then we are talking about the completeness of it. Is it complete? Are there missing values, to it? Again, is it relevant information? Data completeness also talks about um, it also describes whether the data you have collected covers the full scope of the question that you are trying to answer at that time. So you've been given the business question. Do you have enough, in your hand as far as data is concerned to completely answer the question, And are there missing values? Are there gaps or blanks, within your data? That is where data completeness comes in. Then we talk about the consistency of the data. How consistent is your data? Um, is your data format all in agreement, with one another, and with other sources of the data as well? The uniqueness of it, of the data. Are there duplicates within your data? Are rows repeated, And then we talk about the timeliness, of the data. Is it data that's current? Is it reflecting the current situation of things, or we are using data from the past? These data, the rate at which things change, information changes, you'll find that maybe sometimes the data that you had relied on maybe 6 months ago may not be relevant anymore to what is currently happening within the business. Then we talk about the validity of the data. Does it conform to the rules and standards, of the data domain? So these are the 6 dimensions of data quality. Then we talk about what are the consequences of not getting data quality right to a business, So now these are the consequences. There will be low customer satisfaction or loss of customers, because we are having misguided business decisions. We are making decisions based on wrong data, and that would also lead to missed opportunities, missed opportunities within the market. There's a lot of inaccuracies within our financials, a lot of mistakes that cannot be good for business. Many a time businesses run into legal and monetary penalties. They run into fines for the way they have handled data, and it all spans most of the time from the quality of the data. And all of that would definitely breed negative image, for the company. Now, who is responsible for implementing data quality, or when do we need to look at data quality? I would say every time you are working with data, from the first point to the last point of data, within that data life cycle, data quality is always important. From the point of collection to the point of finally sharing or deleting, data quality must always be checked. But there are times that you need to really focus on the quality. Maybe when you have different data sources that you are collecting from everywhere, quality has to be properly checked because you are merging, data from different sources. Then sometimes businesses have mergers and acquisitions. They acquire different businesses, other businesses, or buy other businesses, they merge, and that's two businesses merging. They may be having different ways of running things with their data. So how to bring those together consistently would mean that their data quality needs to be, quality standards need to be implemented. Sometimes we are migrating systems, data from different systems, from one system to the other, maybe because we are upgrading, or any other reason. That is very important. When there is a kind of master data management, happening, there is need to, implement your data quality. So when new systems are in place, yes. And then when you notice that there's a risk of non-compliance, maybe the way we start to collect our data changes, from a very organized way to something that's become manual, then there's risk of data quality dropping its standards. So there's need for us to actually implement it then. Now, how do we put a data management process into place, a process in place within a business? I think I would use the explanation on chart for this part. It's more, I believe that it's more, it's more explanatory there than what I have on that notepad. Okay, now these are the practices we need to put in place. Data validation. So implementing checks and validations during our data entry to prevent errors. Cleaning. We have to regularly review and clean our databases to correct errors, to remove duplicates, and to fill in missing information. Standardization. So we have to establish a consistent data format. This is the unit we want to be using. Do we want 2 decimal places all through, or 1 decimal within our numerics? It's got to be consistent. That is where standardization, comes in. Then implementing data governance. What are the policies and procedures that ensure that we are working with good data quality and security in mind? And data profiling. We have to understand our data, the structure, the characteristics, what's the distribution within the type of data that we have. And we have to understand the anomalies, the outliers that could be present. And we have to constantly monitor, so that any issue that crops up, we can easily, deal with any issue that crops up. Let's have a quick exercise so that we practice a little with some data quality. Let's have a look at this data set. What is the first data quality issue you see, that's within this data set? You can unmute and go for it if you can.
The data is not consistent.
Okay, in what way, sir?
Like the age.
Yeah.
It's numbers from the beginning. Then when it got to Alice Brown, you have an hyphen.
Yeah.
The hyphen is not consistent. Also for gender.
Yeah.
An hyphen replacing the words. And for
Yeah.
city, the hyphen is not consistent with the words.
And for income
also
as well.
made, yeah, for income as well.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Yes, that's the major problem I see. Is there any other problem anyone can spot with this data? Okay, here's a quick one. Let's have a quick look at this one. Can we all see this? Can we all see this data set?
Yes.
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 Okay, so what are the data quality issues that we see here? There's quite a few here.
The customer ID is not consistent.
Okay, the customer ID is not consistent. We can see, yes, we see the last one is different from all of the top ones, and even the alignment of it, isn't it? So there's need to look at why that is. Why is that person's customer ID not in line with the rest? You know, and not just that, while some have five digits, some have 4, you know, digits. Again, we need to look into how to standardize that. They should all be consistent. Thank you very much for that. What else do we find not right with this data set?
Missing data.
Thank you very much. We can see all these blanks here, all this missing, you know, that is a no-no that needs to be dealt with. Okay, what else comes to?
There's a repetition for John Smith in having different address format.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Yes, the first 3, see, John Smith without an H, John Smith with an H, John Smith with an H. They're all different customer IDs, you know, which makes it quite confusing, you know. Address, the first address is spelled as proper street, and the next address ST, and then the third address completely different. And then address 2, the San Diego there, you know, full capital letter for the first, upper and lower for the second, and abbreviation SD for the third. That is huge data quality issue, you know. But something what gives, and the phone number, there's a bit of a clash with the phone number as well, you know. But if we look at the email, I don't see any difference with the email. The email is the same for all 3. That tells me that there's a 90% chance that these 3 names, these 3 records rather, are for one person. And maybe there was some change of information along the line, which were updated, not updated right. The old ones were not taken out, and then there was mistake in spelling of the name. So this needs to be investigated and corrected, you know. And the same goes for the all of these address, you know, the way these addresses are entered, especially address 2. We see some are abbreviated, some are not, missing data, you know. Thank you very much, Bartolu. Missing data, you know, and missing email for a few people there, you know.
Sorry, I have a question.
Yes, please.
For the email, I can see the cases are not same.
Okay. For yes. So we have some all capitals, some you see. So that is not that's inconsistency. A lot of inconsistencies here, you know, that can be picked up. And these are what a data quality, you know, quality assurance or quality audit person would flag, you know, around about our data. Okay, let's quickly look at this as well. What do we find with this data set? Ignore all these writings below, you know. What's the problem with this data set that you can easily pick out?
Still same for John Smith. Like you mentioned, got the same email address for the 3, yeah. But
yeah.
The third one has got a different house address.
Correct. So duplicate data. Okay, and the potential matches where we've got just 5 records here. Okay, so if we try to do a kind of matches here, or a kind of match, there's possibility of generating 10 pairs of data, from there. And they are not, that's not right, So you can imagine having this type of problem for like 500 records, So this is why at every point that data is being updated within our databases, we must always check and capture errors as early as possible, because like I said, they throw spanners, in the works. And now, who is responsible for monitoring data quality at work? Who is responsible, for handling data quality issues? So we've got data stewards. In fact, everybody should be responsible, because we are all working with data. Anytime in whatever department you're working with, you're seeing things that are not right with data, it should be flagged to the IT or the data department that this is what I found. This cannot be right, so that they can make corrections as quickly as possible, So, but those who are directly involved, some data stewards, some data owners, data analysts, definitely data engineers, data scientists, IT and database administrators, a lot of, all these roles are responsible, for anything that is, that's got to do with data quality. And I think that's it really. If there is more, we'll deal with it tomorrow. Do we have any questions? Any questions around data?
We'll deal with it on Monday, sis. Oh, tomorrow is Friday, isn't it?
You want this?
Gosh.